Okay, there we are. We're live. What's up, everybody? We have Ultrasaurus with us. I'm going to introduce her in just a moment. Hello to everyone on Twitch and YouTube. Very briefly, I just want to mention that since our last stream, we have announced Farming Simulator 23 for iOS, Android, and Switch. Go to the Farming Simulator website or our social media channels, and you can see that news if somehow you've missed it. There'll be more coming on that and the GoVile pack in the very near future. Lots more still to come from us this year. Like it's a crazy time, and it's only March 1st. But that's not why we're here today. We're here for Ultrasaurus, our latest guest in the Spotlight series. So first of all, Ultra, go ahead and say hello to everyone out there.
Hey guys, how's it going?
She even looked into the camera. What a pro!
Oh
What
yeah.
what an absolute pro! She looked right into the camera and waved to you guys. That's a heck of a start to the stream. Wow. Okay, love it. Ultra, first of all, like, how are you doing? I'm glad you were able to get up during the day and join us.
I know. Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I'm not normally up at this hour. We're usually still hibernating at this point. But I couldn't miss the opportunity to have a conversation with you, so dragged my butt out of bed early. Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. I'm glad that you're here. Yeah, it's interesting that I often miss out on a lot of you U.S. or rather North American evening time streamers because of my work schedule. But I told you before, and this is something that I'm going to be doing in the near future. I want to start working a few late shifts every once in a while so that I can catch you all more often. I did get to like raid your stream the other night when I was streaming on my own channel, which was fun. Um,
That was fun.
yeah,
I did actually start my stream a little bit earlier that day too, so I feel like that kind of maybe lined things up a little bit more than it normally wouldn't have.
right.
But yeah, no, it was great to see you and your community come in.
Yeah, it was fun to watch. I was looking forward to that game as well, Sons of the Forest. So it was interesting to watch you play it for a bit. Okay, let's go ahead and get into the questions and let's talk some farm sim because you are a variety streamer. You play several different types of games. Is there like a specific genre that you would say that you or genres maybe a couple that you try to stick to, or are you just all over the board?
Yeah, so I actually specifically stick to simulation games for the most part. And these are actually some of them are games that I've actually always played, but not necessarily streamed. And some of them I'm brand new to.
Okay.
So Farming Simulator is definitely one of them. I also play games like SnowRunner, ATS, ETS, Microsoft Flight Sim, Digital Combat Simulator,
Wow.
iRacing. And I've just started playing Kerbal Space Program, which has been super, super fun. But yeah, just kind of very all well-rounded simulation games.
Okay. Cool. What was the first farming simulator that you played then?
Believe it or not, I this actually kind of surprised me. I've been playing since Farm Sim 15.
Oh wow, okay. All right.
Yeah.
How long have you been doing content for Farm Sim?
I dibble dabbled in Farm Sim 19 throughout the years,
Okay.
but I definitely focused and buckled down more before the release of Farm Sim 22. I think I kind of played Farm Sim before I went to officially simulation streaming.
Okay.
And then when I did the swap, I also kind of, doubled down and played a lot more Farm Sim 19 during that transition period.
Yeah. Okay. I like that. So, I mean, I started with 17, so I'm not that, far, behind you, at least of
Hmm.
when I started playing it. What was it about it, though, like that initially drew you to it?
I've always loved simulation games. It's just being able to do something brand new that you can't necessarily do in real life, but can do in game, and games that really encapsulate the realism, the mechanics, the grind
Right.
are all things that I really really enjoy. And so I think yeah, I was definitely even playing Farm Sim even before I even started streaming. I really liked the animal husbandry part of it, but I think the big thing is the real appeal for me is, just really putting a lot of hard work towards something in game, and reaping the benefits of it and just
Okay.
seeing yourself slowly progress. It's nice.
Yeah, I love that that aspect of simulation games too. Like, it's funny, like going back, to my time as a childhood. Like, I've definitely played a wide variety of games, but simulation and like strategy type games were always like my go-to growing up. There's always, and still to this day, there's something about having a game that like almost gives you like a feeling of ownership over something. Like Farming Simulator is great at that because you can play it however you want, but like if you start out and you really start to build up your farming empire, if you will, you start to feel that ownership over it. Like, I started with this field and this tractor, and now look at me. Like, I have like so many fields and so much equipment now. I love that part of it for sure. You have overalls on. Can we talk about this
I
because
do.
they're not just for show, right? I
No.
often say to people, um, especially I get interviewed a lot through like media publications through my job, and people always ask like, do you have a background in farming? I'm like, no, I just pretend to be a farmer on the internet. That's a good description of what I do now for work for people that otherwise wouldn't understand. You have that, I'm sure, where you're like, I'm a Twitch partner, and people are like, okay, but what does that mean? Like, you're telling your
Yeah.
family, like grandparents or aunt and uncles, and they're like, but what do you do? You just play a game and talk to people. But you don't just pretend to be a farmer on the internet, do you?
No. So these are my work overalls, and I had to. Uh, Duncan, my fiance, saw me putting them on, and I saw the look on his face. I'm like, no, I washed them at work. It's fine. They're clean. They're clean. But I actually work at I work at a hobby farm, and I take care of a bunch of animals there. So I basically work 10.5-hour days when I do work. It's pretty hard work. We're cleaning the animals, sometimes training them for certain things, cleaning up after them, working in freezing, torrential snow conditions. It's a fun job. It's very rewarding, and it's really cool to be able to draw parallels between what I do at my job versus, especially like the because it's a hobby farm, the animal husbandry side of farm sim. And what's also really, really fun too is so I am just finishing up my university classes right now too.
Nice.
I am specializing in like a Bachelor of Science in biology, and I've taken a lot of courses on like farm animals, animal welfare, and just general biology. And so these are all really fun things to actually bring into stream while we're playing Farming Simulator 22. It's like kind of like a hey, we're playing Farm Sim, but like we're gonna do a heck and educate sometimes on some days too. So
I love that. That's really cool. What kind of animals are you working with in real life?
oh boy. I can list them all. It's a bit of a weird range because hobby farm, not an actual, functioning farm, but we've got peacocks, chickens, turkeys, quails, ducks, horses, cows, donkeys, pigs, goats.
Wow.
Oh, I'm missing at least one species in there somewhere. But yeah, that's the general gist of it. We've got a wide variety of animals at the farm.
Okay. Okay. Cool. Um, that's great. I love that. So like having that real world experience? This is never like one of my planned questions. This is a unique thing though, because finding this out about you. How do you feel about animal husbandry within Farming Simulator? And can you think of any ways that we could improve upon that?
I think it's actually so going into Farm Sim 22, that was one of the things that I was very pleasantly surprised about. I think it's like pretty bang on, and I think what I really really like about Farm Sim 22, I don't know if you've realized this, but there's a lot of really positive animal welfare things that Farm Sim 22 incorporates into their animal husbandry. A lot of people don't know this, but a lot of people dehorn their cattle, whereas Farm Sim 22, they're not dehorned. A lot of, I don't know if this is a European thing versus a North American thing, but most large farms dock the tails of their sheep just because it's easier maintenance when you have a couple hundred sheep. But in Farm Sim 22, their tails aren't docked. So
Okay.
it was really interesting. We had a conversation during stream, and I pointed it out to chat. I'm like, hey chat, do you see that, the sheep have tail? They have tails. And everyone in chat was like, wow, we've played this game for over a year and we never noticed that they had tails. I'm like,
Right.
yeah,
Okay.
normally sheep don't have that, right guys? And they're like, yeah. And so it's really nice to see that Farm Sim 22 kind of made those stylistic choices that kind of move in the direction of, like, good animal welfare and positive practices, which is really cool.
That's
Yeah.
good to hear. I think we definitely have to consider things like that just due to like how we want the game to be perceived and with age ratings and things like that. So um, I can't really speak to like why exactly it's been modeled that way because I haven't done that work, but I do. It's interesting that you've said that because I hadn't even really thought about it before, but I do know that some people also want us to have like more realistic like production chains with animals. Of course, we all know where like our beef comes from and things like that. So we're all like aware of like what goes on within farming, right? But I don't
Yeah.
know like if we'll ever see that as like a base game feature. It's going to have to be something that like PC players mod in, most
Yeah.
likely for the foreseeable future, just due to the nature of like how we have to think about those types of things from a business standpoint. So yeah, it's really cool to hear you say that. I love that perspective, and I had no idea that I was in store for this when I invited you on to be the guest. It's great.
Yeah.
Uh, okay, cool. Um, what was it about? So you started playing FS15, and then you started streaming. I assume you like streamed a bit of FS19 to kind of gear yourself up for the launch of 22, from the sound of it. But what was it about it when you started playing 15 that like made you want to keep coming back? You played 17, you played 19, and then you decided, hey, you know what? I think I'm gonna start creating content now. So what was it about it that hooked you and made you want to create content for the game?
Um Honestly, so this kind of goes for a lot of the sim games that I previously played and didn't stream. I just genuinely love playing these games. It's
Okay.
so much fun. I and the biggest, I guess, barrier to me streaming it was I just didn't think people wanted to watch me playing games like that. I'm like, I love playing this in my spare time. Like I can play this for 10 hours straight, but who necessarily wants to watch this? And that was kind of the transition period of my channel going from variety to sim games. It's like, you know what? I love this game. I'm sure other people out there also love this game. Let's just try it. And oh boy, yeah, no, people do people do like watching these games, which makes me really happy because these are genuinely games that I'm playing regardless of streaming or not. So to be able to play a game that you're passionate about, like Farming Sim 19, Farming Sim 22, has been such a blessing to be able to share the passion for sim games with other like-minded people. Yeah, I guess the biggest thing for streaming farms games like Farm Sim 22 is because it's definitely like a little bit of a slower paced game. It's really nice to be able to play these games because you can really relax and have conversations with chat, which is quite like you can't do that with a shooter game. Like it's or at least I can't. But yeah, so I really like being able to show chat progression, relaxing, hanging out, creating like a nice chill cozy environment where everybody just it's nice hanging out with people who just like farming too. It's nice.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah. I like that. That's part of your reasoning. I think Farming Simulator. Once you start to like find those people, I see. So maybe for you it's slightly different because of the time that you stream. But when I go in streams during my working hours, I see like almost the same people watching one stream to the next, like it doesn't matter who I'm watching, I see some familiar names and I start to pick up on that. It's something about Farming Simulator that like people are drawn to it specifically, and maybe they'll watch other sim games, and of course your community is going to watch you no matter what you're playing, but there's those like farm sim people that are just everywhere. It's wild
Yes.
to me to see it. So it's good to hear that like you kind of were, or you've been received well when you do go live with Farm Sim. When did you get partnered on Twitch, by the way? I'm curious.
um, I think it was late summer 2021.
Okay.
And I was at the time primarily playing SnowRunner. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that game or
I
not.
am. Yep.
Uh, but yeah, right after we got partnered, that's when I felt like I could safely branch out to other games a little bit, and that's when we actually started doing a lot of Farm Sim 19 content. So it actually kind of lined up with the launch of
Right.
Farm Sim 22. So got partnered in August, and then was like Farm Sim 19 September, October, and then transitioned right into Farm Sim 22. So uh, yeah, it's been a bit of a journey.
Yeah, I mean, that's great though. I'm glad that you were able to get, that point. I'm sure it was a hard, struggle to get there. When did you start streaming in general then?
I think it was October of 2018, I
Okay.
think. Um, but yeah, throughout that time, like I would occasionally do, the Farm Sim 19 stream every now and then. Actually, you know what? I had like a huge back injury where I could barely move, and it was like the most painful thing. And when it's over and done, and I'm so thankful that I was able to heal from it. But Farm Sim 19 was actually the primary game that I streamed
Wow.
during my injury, just because it's such a nice and relaxing game, both like physically and mentally. It was like really easy for me to like still continue to like produce content for that,
Right.
despite what was going on in my life at the time.
I love that. There's so many stories like similar to this where, and even for myself, like it wasn't a physical health thing, but for me it was more like mental health. Farm Sim 17 like and 19 especially too like came at the right time of my life for me to like, it really impacted and helped me like kind of just forget about some of the stresses that were going on and things like that and really chilled me out. And I know so many other people that play the game because it gives them, some sort of relief or relaxation, or maybe just
Hmm.
helps get them through those kind of, difficult periods. I'm sure that like rehabbing a back injury, you're down for the count for quite some time. So
Yep.
having something to do to keep your mind engaged was probably important for you at that time. So that's
Yeah,
really cool to hear.
absolutely.
By the way, thank you everyone on Twitch and YouTube watching. I've seen some comments that Virtual Farmer, another Twitch partner, Giants partner, said he's been trying to catch one of your streams for a while, but they're always while he's asleep. That's understandable, being that he's in the UK. So I'm glad that everyone that doesn't know you has been able to check this out today and get to know you more. And I'm also glad that some people that already know you are in chat and talking highly about you as well. So it's great to have you a part of the Farm Sim community. You
Oh,
haven't
absolutely.
you've been a Giants partner for what, like less than a year? Am I right, or has it been longer than that?
I think I got Giants partner just after getting Twitch partner, so year and a bit or so.
Okay,
Um,
okay.
yeah. And I actually just wanted to add to that, like Giant software, out of all of the different people that I sort of deal with in my area of streaming, Giant software has been so amazing. Just the amount of love and support that they provide out there. It's just like it's very heartwarming.
Good.
And it's really good in the sense that we actually had a situation where Farm Sim 22 released the new Platinum DLC on the same day that another game released some big DLC too. And I was like, wow, I'm gonna have to choose between the two of them. And I was kind of thinking about a bunch of different variables, but honestly, at the end of the day, I actually sat down. I'm like, you know what? Giant Software supports me so well. They've been so good to me, and I want to support this company. And so that was the deciding factor right then and there. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to support the people who support me.
Well, I'm glad to hear that because we do what we can. I feel like sometimes uh, we feel like our resources, we do the best that we can with what we're given, but we don't have time. Like, there's not Giants is still overall like a pretty small company if you compare like the size of how many employees there are compared to the success of the game. So it's nice to hear you say that because um, we like to know that our work is impacting people, and I always appreciate things like that. So thanks for saying that. Do you have your partner plaque yet? Have you received it, by the way?
I do. It is in a place hidden from the cat until we find a good spot on the wall to hang it.
That's fair. I
But
just
that's
wanted to check because we're still sending these out in batches, and COVID kind of messed up the delivery of them. So we're kind of like we have a backlog now. So maybe you were in that sweet spot where you were able to get
I think
sent
I
one.
was.
Yeah, cool.
But that was like one of the nice things that Giant Software did. I didn't even know that was coming. Um, and we just get this box in the mail. I'm like, what on earth could I be being sent right now? And it was just so heartwarming and so sweet to see that. I was like, oh wow, like I super feel very valued and supported. And I love this so much. So yeah, it's awesome that you guys did that.
Cool. Cool. I'm glad that you have it. Yeah. And if you're watching right now and you're a partner and you're like, okay, but that's cool that she has hers, where the heck is mine? Just know that we are sending them out in batches. So you'll get it eventually. It's just, we can't send them all out at once. So it'll take time. But yeah. Cool. All right. Thanks for the nice things that you said. This was supposed to be about you and saying nice things about you, but I'll take the
Oh.
compliment for Giants too. I'll allow it. I'll allow it. Okay. So let's go more to like present day farm sim. You've been playing for a while
Mhm.
now, but what is it like about 22 that you've liked the most?
Ooh. Firstly, I really do like the new maps. They're super fun. There's a lot of different variety and options to them. The production chains are super like from what I understand, far because I don't actually play with too many mods. I like to keep the game like pretty
Oh,
clean for the
what a
most part.
rarity you
Uh
are.
it's also out of like laziness too. I have to like update our server every time I add something, so I can't. Um but from what I understand, a lot of what we see in Farm Sim 22 in terms of things that were added were mods in Farm Sim 19, I believe.
Yeah,
Um,
that's
so a
fair to
lot of
say.
the yeah, so a lot of the production chains and the telling your workers to, hey, can you please like take this wagon and sell it at the store? Like it's just such a huge quality of life improvement. Really great. But I've been really enjoying the new Platinum DLC map with the logging and the improved logging. It's just been a huge game changer. I've been having so much fun fiddling with the logging machine.
Cool.
um, and, and I think, what was it? When I was first playing it, people were like, hey, did you do the roller coaster? I'm like, I'm sorry, the what? But yeah, I know it was really fun adding those like cute little parts to the map where it's like, hey, if you want to work on something additional, like here you go. And I super love that. But yeah, Farm Sim 22 is just it keeps the core game, the core concept. You know, we don't fiddle around with that too much. It's still Farm Sim, but the little additions like farming for olives or grapes for grape juice.
Grape juice. Mm.
Grape juice. Yeah, no, it's been a lot of fun, and I've just been. I think I've ended up doing more in Farm Sim 22 than I ever really did in Farm Sim 19 in terms of trying out new vehicles, farming new products. It's been great.
I think that like over time you kind of start to evolve how comfortable you are with the game, if that makes sense, and you start to kind of realize that hey, I can do more now. I'm already comfortable. I'm already comfortable with this aspect, so now I'm going to add this into the mix. So I feel the same way. I used to just like harvest soybeans and then get it ready for the next go around, and that's like all I ever did when I first started playing Farm Sim. Just like soybeans and recycle, repeat. And
Yeah.
then eventually you start to get more comfortable with things, and you start
Hmm.
to do more. Are you playing on PC, or are you a console player, or have you done
Ooh,
both?
PC,
Okay.
PC.
Oh,
Yeah.
with that face. Okay. Sorry to touch a nerve there. I'm gonna say something as well. Like, I don't play with a lot of mods either, and that some people in the community are gonna be like, "What?"
Oh, people
Uh,
get so up in arms over it.
but I have my go-to mods. Like, I'll probably at any given time, the most I've ever had is maybe like 15 to 20, and that's on the high end. That was in 19
Yeah.
when I was still like a content creator, and most of them were like decorations because we kind of customized Griffin, Indiana in FS19, and
Oh.
customized like the farmyard and stuff for my community when I was streaming on my own channel. So we all had like a
Hmm.
mailbox out front and something, cute
Oh,
things like that.
I
Um,
love that.
so yeah, I'm usually on the lower end, and now like, I'm a console player of the game because I sit at the computer all day for work, and so I'm finding it really hard these days to sit at the computer and play games at the end of the
It's
day.
fair.
So my wife and I have a cool console living room gaming setup with like two screens, like her screens
His and
down here,
hers.
mine's, yeah, exactly.
Oh, love it.
So yeah, I as I get older, the more I want to sit on the couch when I play games.
Fair, fair.
But yeah, okay, cool. All right. That's good to learn about you. You kind of mentioned already your favorite maps. Silver Run. Do you think it's a good representation of Pacific Northwest of North America? By the way, I'm curious.
Um, I would say parts of it, yes. The
Fair.
Pacific Northwest, it's just such a variety of climates. I mean, you even
Right.
have like a rainforest at some point, right?
Right.
Um, I would say, you know what, actually, now that you've mentioned that, maybe that's actually why that map does resonate with me the most, is because it's out of all of the maps that reminds me the most of um, the coast and the climate here, and it feels a little bit more homey. I actually didn't realize that. I've never thought about that
Okay.
before,
Good to
but no,
challenge you.
no, yeah, no. It's definitely it's a really really oh god, I just love the concept of the map. It's just like, hey, here's a bunch of trees. You literally can there's a little bit of like farming plots if you want to get straight into farming, but it's like you better do some clear cutting if you want to do anything on these plots of land.
Right.
So yeah, it definitely adds to the whole, slowly carving away at the world and making it your own too. Yeah, no,
I think
it's been yeah.
it's also, in my opinion, like the most beautiful map that Giants have ever created, because of
Mm-hmm.
like the new water textures and the new tree types and how the trees are actually populated, and the map is
Yeah.
different. So there's been, some people just aren't into forestry in the game. That's fine, but if you're talking like pure aesthetics with the map, you can
Mm-hmm.
see you can see that next step forward for the maps that we create. And
Oh,
the
absolutely.
team that worked on it, were super excited about just the smallest of details, like the new water textures and how the like streams were flowing through the map. Like, yeah, it's a beautiful map for sure. Okay, cool. What about like so if you had to explain your farm sim play style to someone,
Oh no.
like how would you summarize your play style?
Cozy and chaotic
Okay.
is the best way to. Well, we, you know what is that mod? There's a mod that like lets you do perfect lines
Is it
when
VCA
you
or a
farm.
GPS or
I one
vehicle
of those.
control
Don't use
add-on
it.
or
No,
gotcha.
don't use it. Don't care for it.
Okay.
I have. I don't know. It depends on how I'm feeling. Some days we have some like pretty decent lines, and some days I really, really upset chat with the lines that I'm making when I'm farming. I think
Uh,
some people actually leave stream. They just cannot handle what they're seeing. Yeah, it's chill and mildly like a little dash of chaotic.
That's good.
Because
I like
I
that.
Yeah, because I do, play the game as you're supposed to play it, but then I also play the, hey, let's see how many hay bales we can stack up onto our vehicle and then drive 80 kilometers an hour to the drop off point and see what happens.
You got
Um,
to. You've got to do stuff like
yeah,
that.
yeah, so that's I think that sums that up pretty well.
Okay. So the first thing I'm thinking of in a virtual farmer, one of my co-casters for the Farming Simulator League, the amount of people that come in to watch one of our streams of our esport and say like similar things, like the he missed like an entire like section of that wheat. It's triggering me, and I'm like, I get it, but especially when you're talking about our esport, it's not about like accuracy. It's about like how fast you can get it done for the most part, or you're gonna be left
Yeah.
behind. So don't expect nice clean lines in the FSL, and don't expect that every time from Ultrasaurus as well. That's what we've learned today. I love it. Oh, and I'm glad that like Farming Simulator is a game, so have fun with it however you can. Actually, I have like sitting in front of me on my desk. I got fan mail, not directly for me, but like Giants U.S. office got fan mail sent from like a 6 or 8 year old kid. Um,
Oh,
it's an awesome letter. It's like really cute and like 8 year old handwriting.
that's really
But
sweet.
it's like, hey Giants, I love the game, and then it quickly devolves into what you would expect a kid to ask for in Farming Simulator. It's like, can you add
Uh-huh.
fire trucks and ambulances and police cars and and fast like sports cars and things like that? And I find that this is how a lot of kids that play Farming Simulator play our game. Whenever we have a gaming station at an event, the
Yeah.
first thing a kid does is like, "Where's the truck? Because I want to drive it as fast as I can and just like
Oh my
send
god.
it flying into the air." So people
Totally
play
not what
Farm
I
Sim
do.
different.
Um,
It's great. Thanks for the raid, by the way, on Twitch. Much appreciated, everyone, for hanging out with us. We've got still 30 minutes and maybe some change to go on the stream, so hang there with us. Hopefully, you said that most of your community probably are still asleep, so hopefully they can catch the VOD on Twitch or maybe the
oh,
YouTube
absolutely.
video as well at some point. It is cool to see some of your people in here. There's Carl saying Ultra is awesome, #1 fan in our chat. Shout out to XR Renegade, another Twitch and Giants partner. How you doing, XR? Good to see you. Farmer Cop Raid over on YouTube as well. Thanks, everybody. Feeling all the love. All right, so I don't know. Let's talk more about like FS22. Like, what are you doing right now on your like current streams? Do you do multiplayer? Do you usually just play by yourself or?
Yeah, so we I mean, I'm pretty content playing just on my own or with others. But I usually do have people playing on. We have a farm sim server that we have for the community, and usually that's what I'm hopping into when I'm streaming. And currently we're working on the roller coaster because I got so excited about logging. I just like no, I don't want anything to do with the roller coaster. It's fine. I just want to chop trees. Like
Right.
I think, oh my god, when the platinum DLC came out, I think I did two 6 to 8 hour streams straight of just like I don't think I did anything but cut trees straight. Um, that's how excited I was about that. Um,
It's easy to get like kind of like tunnel vision, and especially like that job in farm sim, because it's just like you're just like cut, and you just like keep going at it, and then you look up and it's like 4 hours later and you've deforested an entire area.
Yeah, and I didn't quite understand the concept of the roller coaster. It's like drop off this material. I'm like, oh yeah, easy, and I dropped it off. I'm like, why is it not working? And then someone earlier in chat was saying, I was like, I'm gonna get the roller coaster done tonight. They're like, no, you're not. No, you're not. I'm like, what do you mean? And I don't understand. And then yeah, I realized it's like, oh, it's
Yeah.
off of the timer and it slowly takes resources. Okay, cool, gotcha. I think it took me um gosh, probably about maybe 4 hours to understand the concept of like when you're using the forestry machine and you chop the log, you're supposed to like you're supposed to turn it to the side and then continue like running the tree through the machine,
Right.
not just like running it and then like doing this whole pop-up wheelie with your vehicle, almost flipping it every single time you chop down a tree. Only took 4 hours. It's fine. Lots of entertainment though, but I was like, oh, that's okay. Okay, I get it. I get it.
Don't worry. I I did so recently. We did the first community multiplayer stream. It's a new series of streams that we're doing. Sort of, it's not. It's kind of like the spotlight in that it focuses on a community, but it's focusing on gameplay. Like I'll join someone and play. So maybe sometime I'll stream late at night and I could join you in your community. But
Oh
RxZ, who
boy.
I saw in YouTube chat, and Farm Sim Guy, they came up with the logging league. They've actually got it sponsored now. It's not an official Giants thing, but I participated in like a practice match of their logging league, and I ended up getting the tree harvester completely flipped on its side when like the forwarder, or not the forwarder, why am I blanking on the name? It came crashing down and just smacked me and flipped me over. And yeah, so
Woo!
don't worry. I made a fool of myself right in front of everyone. Yeah,
That's great.
logging is one of those things in farm sim that like requires like a switch in your brain and mentality based off of like what you're used to, and it requires a lot of like very specific like minor adjustments. Like you mentioned, like
Mm-hmm.
if you want to do it right, yes, yarder is the word. Thank you, Dunk. If you want to do it right, like you got to make those minor adjustments, and or just do whatever you want and then start stacking them so that it does the little wheelie. You know, who cares?
Yeah, whatever gets you the logs, right? Um, oh, jeez. Yeah, it's great.
I
It's
love
great.
it.
I
Um,
think actually, to be quite honest, a lot of the in SnowRunner, you have a lot of mechanics with cranes
right.
in that game. I feel like that actually translated super super well for me over into Farm Sim 22 with the forestry mechanics because I actually personally felt super super comfortable just like swinging the arms around and doing it. It's actually not gonna name the games, but there are other games out there that have mechanics for controlling arms and cranes where it's just like it's baffling. It's like how I can't do this. And that's one of the nice things that Farm Sim does is like there's a little bit of a small learning curve to understand how to use the vehicles, but like once you get there, it's like it's pretty straightforward, which is nice.
I detect just a tiny bit of sarcasm in the Twitch chat from Binkenstein. A flipped vehicle. This is a concept we're totally unfamiliar with in Ultra Stream. Vehicles always remain facing the correct way up 100% of the time. Maybe,
Always.
maybe just a touch of sarcasm, I sense. I love it. I love this part of the streams when the guest community is in there and giving them a hard time. I love it. Um, Okay, so what's have you just done the base game maps? Have you done any modded maps? I know you said you're not like real big in the modding world as far as adding them to your game.
Yeah, I've had intentions of. Well, the funny thing is, I think the only modded map that I was interested in was I think it's called No Man's Land,
Land, you got it. Yep.
which is essentially what Silver Run Forest gives you, anyways. Um,
Right, like a blank slate, like clear the trees
y-
away and all the
yeah.
rubble and plow your own fields.
I think for my playstyle at the moment, I'm just really comfortable with playing the giant software maps, and it's just less of a headache with setting up and does it work and is it
Right.
compatible. And so I've had some curiosity. Like I've seen some people playing, and I'm like, wow, that's a super cool map. But I'm just like, don't know if I'll. I mean, I'll hop into your server and I'll play it. I'm not sure if I would ever set that up for myself, but
Right. That's
no, there's
fair.
some fantastic modded maps out there. 110%. I'm just lazy.
Yeah. Well, you know what though? Like I think because you also stream other games and you're really into Silver Run from the sound of it. Silver Run, if you like just play it, a couple of times a week, and you're not like speeding time up or things like that to really force like the game to progress, it could take a lot of time to get like the roller coaster finished or like build boats. And someone earlier
Yeah.
said that you like to spend a lot of time making cat trees in Silver Run Forest. Is that true?
I think that was our first production chain.
Okay.
I got so incredibly excited when I was like, wait, you can make cat trees in this game? So we mass produced those, to which I learned that there is a production limit. That was super fun to learn. I was just like, the game's broken. I'm like, I don't know what to do. And someone's like, how much have you produced
Yeah,
on
it's
the map?
enough cat trees to fulfill orders across
To,
the world, and then
yeah,
some.
helping cats out everywhere.
I love it. I love it. Okay. Do you have any advice? Given like how your journey's been with the game over the years, do you have any advice for someone that maybe is, in the point of where you were when you started playing FS15? They're new to the game, and they're like trying to find their way and try to understand like how to do different things or just get more comfortable with the game. Do you have any advice for someone in that situation?
Yeah. Don't do what I do, where I just perpetually skip tutorials. Just I don't know why. I just don't like games telling me what to do. But definitely take the tutorial. Don't be afraid to ask questions. The Farming Sim 22 Discord is probably a really good place to ask any questions. And like seriously, don't be afraid to ask questions. Like out of all of the communities I kind of hang around, the Farm Sim 22 community is super helpful, super amazing. Like you're not bothering anyone. Take it slow, take it easy. Don't oh god, this is what I forgot that I do this too. Don't get super ambitious with what you're doing and basically take out a loan so big that you're worried that the mob is going to come by and break your base later in game. Oh god, I max out the loan so often and it's like, why can't I take any more money? It's like, oh, I already took so much. But yeah, just take it one step at a time. Learn the mechanics of each vehicle and then like just don't overwhelm yourself with how big the game is and all the things that you can do. One step at a time is, I guess, the best advice that I can give.
Yeah, that's perfect. I always tell people that too. If you think too much about the entire game at the beginning, you probably will end up feeling overwhelmed when you're like, I have to do that and this. Oh my God. No, just focus on one thing at a time,
Yeah.
get comfortable with that. And, as time progresses, you'll start to get more and more comfortable with more things. So, how many people are you usually playing multiplayer with?
Um, it can depend. Usually I am playing pretty often. He's in chat with Sergeant Poggy. He's kind of my go-to person to play games with.
Okay.
'Cause we vibe pretty well together. But we can have up to, I don't know, I've seen us with like 6 to 8 players at a time. It all depends on the moods of people, if they want to
Right.
hop in or not. Yeah, no, I kind of depends on what's going on, but I generally prefer playing with a smaller crowd just because it's easier to coordinate with people, like what's going
Right.
on. It's like, I don't know, less hurting cats.
Yeah. Yeah, okay, that's fair. Yeah, I think that there is like a sweet spot if you want to like all work together. Otherwise, like someone is going to be just standing around, unless you have so much going on. Of
Yeah,
course,
exactly.
yeah, you can have up to 16 players, but like that's very rare. I feel like to see like an entire server filled up, unless it's like specifically meant for multiple different farms to be working together or working, separately. So that's
Hmm.
cool. All right. Do you guys like what's your favorite thing to do in Farming Simulator? Like personally, and then maybe with your friends when you're streaming multiplayer as well.
Ooh, what is my favorite thing to do? I really like bailing.
Okay.
It is wow, I love bailing.
It's one of my favorites.
Gosh, it's just so satisfying.
Especially if you do play with 3 or 4 people, like you can get bailing done like pretty efficiently and just keep it
Yeah,
rolling. Yeah.
yeah. That so I would. to follow up with your second question, probably bailing too with friends. Bailing on your own, bailing with friends, everybody bailing.
Okay.
What was it? Farm Sim did the No Kid Hungry sort of
Right. Yeah, we didn't we
and there was
that didn't
the
happen this
bailing
year.
challenge.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then yeah, so I was just like, this is my time to shine. This is just bailing all stream. Great, love it.
Was it the silage relay last year? Is that what you're
It
talking
was
about maybe?
yeah, sorry, this was last year. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Yeah. That was one of my creations, so I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Oh yeah, it's
I
great.
came up with that idea on the kind of like, for something a little bit more unique. We had done that a few years in a row with them, and then, just like last week I was like, February's almost over and I never heard from them this year, so I don't think that they did farming February this year. But yeah, that was really fun to do those streams.
Yeah,
Um,
it was.
and we want to start doing, like, we're going to be doing hopefully some more of this stuff going forward. We're working behind the scenes right now. I'm really pushing like a lot more content for our like main YouTube and our community YouTube for this year, plus TikTok and these streams and everything. But one of the things we're talking about doing is some sort of like community challenge every once in a while. So we might start doing some more of that type of stuff and get you partners and content creators involved and have a good time together, working towards some challenges. I know XR was in chat. He's got like an interesting challenge going on right now. We'll probably have him on the community multiplayer for next week. We have the second episode of the community multiplayer, and we have Twin Can Gaming and his
Mm-hmm.
community joining to do the Cayman challenge. So yeah, I'm gonna play some farm sim and do the Cayman challenge next week on stream. That'll be interesting.
All right
But
on.
I love bailing too, though. By the way, to go back to that, like my wife and I, especially when we play, like that's almost always we're seeking out, like trying to do that. We played on Comsden Farm modded map for quite some time, and there's a lot of grass work that you can do and supplement, like getting bales for animal feed and things like that. So yeah, we've spent so much time mowing the grass and baling it up and turning some into silage and keeping some reserved for other things. So I'm right there with you. It's one of my favorite things to do in the game. And do you know, maybe this is something that people didn't catch if you didn't listen to the Farming Simulator podcast that came out on Friday last week. Lars and I talked about something that's coming alongside of the Guvile pack. It's not part of the DLC, so you don't have to buy the DLC to have this, but it's coming in the patch that's coming out the week before the DLC 1.9, and it's bale and pallet storage in the base game, like for the first time. This has existed with mods before. This will be huge for console players, especially because there is a bale limit. Like once you spawn so many bales on the map, you can't create anymore. But now with this storage, you can basically dump them into the storage. They kind of disappear and that they're not on the map anymore. And then you can create more. And you can do this with pallets for production chains too. So
Ooh,
yeah.
good
You
to know.
There you go. Yeah, you'll have to check that out. So that'll be available for anyone that has that patch for free, added to the base game of Farming Simulator 22. But it will work nicely, I think, alongside the new DLC because it is focused on baling equipment. So you're going to have the stationary balers and all sorts of stuff. So if you like baling, these next few weeks are going to be an exciting time for you because you're going to get new baling equipment, new types of bales, and then of course with the patch, the bale storage, like I just mentioned. So that'll be very cool to see how that all plays out.
Looking forward to that. That's
Yeah,
exciting.
there you go. So now you know, and everyone in chat's like, okay, I like this because we didn't announce it in the blog, and then we were like, let's put this in the podcast. And so if you weren't aware and didn't listen to it, or you haven't picked it up from secondhand knowledge, maybe you're not aware of that. So I'm glad that I've been able to get the word out to more people during the stream. Ultra, you've kind of talked about this already throughout the other questions, but can you like expand a little bit now on like what it is about your community during Farm Sim, or maybe and also the Farm Sim community as a whole? Like, what do you love most about it?
Um, I just, firstly, on the community side, I just love how welcoming and supportive everyone is. Um, on my end, I've seen a lot of people who were very nervous about getting into farm sim, not sure what to do, but they've gotten into it, and the community, everybody has been just so supportive and welcoming. It just really creates an environment where people see this game and it's like, wow, that's a lot, but they have the confidence to be able to try it out and learn that, oh my god, this is an amazing game. And yeah, with Farm Sim 22, I would just say like the realism and the detail with everything in the game is just, I mean, you can talk about, yes, like the challenge of working on your farm, all of this stuff, but without those small little details, the world doesn't come to life. And just even, I remember when I first started playing Farm Sim, I can't remember if I started potato farming in 15 or 17 or whatnot, but just seeing the, or was it beets? I can't remember. But, but just seeing the little, like, the tubers going through like the harvester through all the gizmos it has, and I was just like, whoa, like that is wild. Like it just, you're not just harvesting them, like you are harvesting them. So yeah, like I just feel like just little things like that just build a world where you find yourself getting lost in it.
Yeah. I love that. And I think like 22 is the best version of that because not only like now you can like match the audio with the visuals, like all of it comes together to create like a great feeling of atmosphere overall. Like you
Yeah.
kind of get lost in the sounds of the tractor, the sounds of nature around you, you know, the visuals as well. I'm sure like you were excited probably that like the animals got like a whole lot like cuter in FS22 as well. Like yeah,
Just
the
even the animations. Like I've actually sat there just like watching them hang out and do their little sits and stuff. And the thing is, like, I'm just, it sounds so mundane, but like watching how the animals go to sit down and stand up is so well captured by like what I see on my farm when I'm working. Like it's just, the detail is there.
Did you ever? I don't think being lucky enough is the right way to phrase this. Were you ever unlucky enough to experience the like audio, the cow audio bug that was in the game early on, where like if you went, I think it was if you went to like first person camera mode, just this random like ear like deafening cow like moo overmodulated would like be triggered and it would just be like burst your eardrums. I'm sure people in chat now are going to be like, yes, that happened to me. Sorry about that, first of all, people, but we've turned it into almost like a meme internally now, and it's part of the podcast like intro. Like you can hear it if you listen to the podcast,
Oh
just this
no.
really overmodulated and loud moo. So I'm glad you didn't experience it, but yeah,
I didn't
sorry to those
experience
that
it. I
did.
experience it every time I go and work, though. Cows are loud,
Yeah.
and they'll let you know that they're cheeky little beggars that want extra food. And some of the farmers give them extra food when they moo like that. So we just have, it's, the mooing is a thing.
All right. All right. Yeah. Okay. Well, so now is the my most fun question to ask. I look forward to this. I save it for the end, and I'm curious to see what you have to say about this. So, first of all, again, people, we're not talking about anything that actually is coming to Farming Sim. We're not confirming anything, nor denying it, to be fair. But this is about Ultra now dreaming big and telling us if without any restrictions, if she could see stuff added to future Farming Simulator titles or DLCs, what would you like to see, Ultra?
Whoa. Um, so as a crazy horse girl, I would like to see more mechanics with the horses in Farm Sim 22.
Okay.
I feel like, I don't know, I feel like people love horses. And it would be super cool to have like some more interaction with the environment with them. Just, I think that was the biggest thing coming into Farm Sim 22. I was like, I wish there's a little bit more to do with the horses.
I think that's fair too, because honestly, for me, when I play, like I love horses too. They're beautiful, majestic creatures. But in Farm Sim, it's
Mhm.
like one of the last things I want to do, just because the time you have to put in, like riding them around the map to train them and things like that, it doesn't like pay off as well as like spending that same time doing something else in the game, right? So
Soybeans.
yeah, yeah, soybeans or whatever it may be now, but or baling. But yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
That's fair. Anything else that you can think of that you'd like to
Um.
see?
Yeah, I think it would be cool to be able to also interact with the towns a little bit more, maybe have a little bit more say about like the buildings and whatnot that go on there. Um, I can't remember what I was doing last stream, but I was definitely really wishing. I was, you know what? I wish I could interact a little bit more with the town. Like that was a big thing of mine too. Oh, it would be really really cool if for your like base farm, like your starter home. It would be really cool to also just even be able to walk into that and customize that a little bit more too. Like have your little farmer home. Like
Right.
I don't know. I'm a crazy person for wanting that.
No, I
But
don't. I don't think so. Especially like if you play in a way like you start from nothing and you want to build yourself up. Like if you're a simulation game fan, like you almost you get into any simulation game, and I do this weird thing in my own head where like I'm like telling a story to myself like in my head as I play these kinds of games, even if it's not necessarily playing out on the screen. But yeah, you want to have that sense of ownership. Like I'm my
yeah.
character is like in is part of this world, like and so I want to feel that ownership and over it, and I want to feel like I'm a part of this community in the map, for example. So I want to ask you, like, to expand a little bit. When you mean like interact
Mhm.
with the town, do you mean like interacting with like NPCs specifically, or are you talking more like being able to customize like how the town looks or how the buildings function? Can you expand on that a little bit?
Yeah, no, for sure. I think just even being able to I think Farm Sim has already done a very good job with you do nothing but just look around. It'd just be nice to be able
Right.
to hop in into the bakery and like just see a visual of that building. Uh-oh.
I don't know what happened there, but I think we're
Oh.
good now.
I think
Uh,
um
I think we're good. Hopefully.
yeah, but just being able to edit the flow of the town a little bit more too, like adding I think I might be wrong, but I don't think like let's say I wanted to add a production chain in town where there would be a space. I think currently right now you aren't able to have any say as to like what happens in town in terms of placing objects or buildings. So it would be nice to be able to have that option. And on that note, oh my goodness, I just remembered this. It'd be nice to be able to paint grass on Farm Sim, especially after like deforesting everything, and it just looks really sad. I'm like, I just want a nice big green grassy field. Nope, nope.
Right.
That's yeah. Just I don't know, just little aesthetic things. Or I mean, for me, for the most part, like there's not much that I would uh, really want in future games. Like I feel like Farm Sim 22 encapsulates everything pretty well, but it's just like really little minor like things that would help you get into the environment just a little bit more.
Right. I think that's fair. I love I almost always seek out like a mod for like a farmhouse in FS22 because I like being able to go inside as well. So
Hmm.
early for most of Farming Simulator 22, it's been Omatana's like hobo like shed pack she made. Like it had a few tiny homes and things like that in it. And one of them, like the tiny homes, you go in and there's a Murphy bed that like folds up and down. I just find that really cool. Like, it's not the most extravagant mod ever, but yeah, it's nice to be able to like pretend that you are actually living there and you can go inside. So I get that. I get why you'd like to see that going forward. Interiors is something that I don't really know. Like I think that we are always like cautious of it, but or not cautious but aware of it because people ask for it, and it's something that we don't currently have like in any of our maps that have been created. but yeah, who knows what the future holds if we could add them into the base game, because things
Mm-hmm.
are always trying to try to do new things, try to move things forward. Our team is super talented, and they're always kind of trying to push the envelope too of like what they can do for the next one. So we're always, the work never stops. I think some people think that like we just release a DLC and then we wait like 3 months and then we work for 2 weeks and then like, but that's not really how things go. Like the once 22 was released, it was like, okay, this is cool. It's been successful, but now the work really starts because now
Yeah.
we've got like all this DLC content, and of course, like ideas are already being thrown at the wall and seeing what's going to stick for the next PC and console version of the game that will be released at some point. So we're always thinking about things like this, and I love this question because you get such a wide variety of responses from people, and I think we all love farm sim so much that we have an idea in our head of what we'd like to see that would like take it even to like the next level
Yeah.
for us. So that's a really cool one to hear from you. More ownership over a town, interiors of buildings, things like that. I like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, as we start to wrap things up, like you got anything you want to talk about, or like maybe you just tell people as well, like where they can find your content, your normal schedule, things like that.
Yeah, no, for sure. So I try to stick to a schedule of it's kind of a running joke. Is like I've got a schedule, but I kind of don't. I stream Tuesday, Thursday, Sundays, starting at around 8 p.m. Pacific time. And if you guys hop in. I'm playing a lot of Kerbal Space Program because that game just came out. But yeah, if you guys enjoy just sim games in general, that's kind of what we do with the community. And a part of I just wanted to put this out there. Part of actually what really inspired me to start streaming in sim games, besides the fact that I love these games, is there needs to be more women playing these games, and I think a big part of that is a lot of people are maybe not comfortable coming out of their shells, and simulation games are a lot on its own. Besides, let's forget about streaming; they're a lot, and so my hopes is too. It's if you're a woman out there watching this stream right now, don't be afraid to hop in and play these games. Like, you've got support. There are people out there who would love to see you doing that. And so, yeah, my goal is just in hoping that I'm streaming this, I encourage others to also do the same too, because definitely we are lacking in the simulation games.
That's fair. I mean, we definitely a funny story real quick. I don't know if you've ever watched her, but Laura Farms on YouTube. She's a real life farmer that does YouTube content. We partnered with her for the launch of 22. We went out to her family's farm. We created some videos. But it was kind of funny because she was like, "Hey, I'm curious, what's the demographics of like farming simulator as a whole?" And I told her what they were, and she's like, "Yeah, okay, that's exactly like the demographic of what watches my channel as well. Pretty much like 35 and up male. Like, that's the majority of our players. So you're definitely right. Like, it's not as well known, but I feel like there has been a leap forward with 22. I don't know if it necessarily was like something we added to the game. I do think that like people like yourself on Twitch and YouTube and other places have been a big help in that, because not just for like growth in different demographics, but just overall more awareness around the game. When I was at TwitchCon in both San Diego and Amsterdam last year for work, so many people came up to the booth, and even if they haven't played Farming
Yeah.
Simulator, they would be like, "I know your game. My like friend, I'm a mod in their channel. They play Farm Sim," or like, there was a lot more stories like that than I think that we were used to in the past, where Farming Simulator as a brand is like becoming more and more known in the gaming space. I think that like content creators like yourself have been a huge reason why. So it's nice to hear you say that like you hope to kind of pass on that love, because it's very clear that you enjoy streaming with your community, and when you play Farm Sim, you're always having a good time. So it's nice to hear that you're trying to kind of push things forward and encourage other people too.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's surprisingly, I've had two women in my life, IRL friends, separate occasions tell me, "Hey, yeah, I actually own Farm Sim." I'm like, "You do?"
Okay.
And yeah, they're like, "Well, we just," both of them separately said, they're like, "Well, we really like the game. It's just we're not really sure what to do." And I'm like, "Hop into the stream and hang out, or just like reach out to me. I'd be happy to show you guys the games." And so there's just they're they're out there. It's just the level of comfort with asking for help and support and kind of figuring out just that little learning curve at the very beginning. Anyways, I just that's just what I hope my stream does. It's just help encourage and support others to try out the game.
I love that. And like we're very aware as well that our game isn't like very like accessible at the beginning. At least like you can get confused very easily. We've talked about that a few times during the interview already. Like it's very easy to just like get overwhelmed. So we're trying to find ways too to like break that barrier basically and get people more comfortable from the start. But what I do tell people is like the biggest asset for a new player of Farm Sim is literally the community, which is great for me to say as community coordinator. Like our community is very strong. Join the Discord. You've already said that during the stream. Watch a Twitch
Mm-hmm.
stream or a YouTube video. Like if you're trying to figure out something like how to do something in Farm Sim, like typing into YouTube, like I don't know, bailing something, Farm Sim 22. There's gonna be so many videos that pop up that are gonna be
Oh
super
yeah.
helpful for you to learn these things. So yeah, our community is our strongest asset, and the modding community as well keeps the game fresh all the time, and they're adding new things in, and it's really great. So I'm glad to hear you say that. By the way, before we go, I can you tell us how you got the name Ultrasaurus? Where did this come from? I'm curious.
Oh wow. There's actually a little bit of a story to it. I love dinosaurs. I don't know if that was apparent at all. Love them.
Okay,
I've always
fair.
been nuts so about them. But I have a really, really old book about dinosaurs, the type of book where it's like the information is kind of outdated in it. But essentially, as a child, I was always so fascinated with these three dinosaurs, and it showed the Brachiosaurus, and then taller than the Brachiosaurus was the Supersaurus, and then the largest of these sauropods was called the Ultrasaurus.
Oh,
Now,
okay.
this is such an old book. It turns out there was some miscommunication with naming Ultrasaurus. Some guy basically was like, had this large sauropod. He's like, "Yep, I'm going to name it Ultrasaurus. It's going to be great, fantastic." And then some guy in some other country was like, no, sorry, I'm actually taking that name from you. And he named his dinosaur faster than the other guy. So the very, very tall sauropod is not actually called Ultrasaurus anymore because someone took the name faster than he could. Can't remember what they actually, it's Ultra something. It's very similar to what it was supposed to be. But essentially, it is actually a dinosaur, by the way. Ultrasaurus, if you look it up.
I love it.
And yeah, and I don't know. I was rebranding from when because when I first started streaming, I didn't actually, stream, and I was like, yeah, we're gonna stream full time. We're gonna build up a community. I was just playing games. I'm like, let's just turn on a camera and see what happens. And so there was a bit of a rebranding period, and I was like, why don't I just try Ultrasaurus? There's no way that's available, right? And it was.
Wow, great. I love that. Yeah, Kerminator is taken like almost everywhere. I was surprised by that. That's why, like on a lot of places, I'm Kerminator live on my personal stuff because, yeah, believe it or not,
Gotcha.
Kerminator pretty popular. But I mean that Kermit the Frog guy, he's got the market cornered on all
He
things
does.
Kermit. Darn it. All right, cool. So everyone on Twitch, at least, pinned to the message is where you can find the link for Ultra's channel. So make sure you go check her out, especially if you're watching streams on Twitch in the nighttime. You're looking for someone to hang out with. Go check her out. I hope you think you're going to finish the roller coaster this year. Like what's it?
Yes, you know what? I think that's a very reasonable goal by this year. Yes, it will be done.
Okay. All right.
We'll get there. We'll get there.
It's a lot. It's a lot. Cool. I look forward to hopefully checking one of your Farm Sim streams out myself soon, because I am going to start working a few evening shifts here and there. So I hope to be able to catch them as well. Thanks everyone for hanging out on Twitch and YouTube, and it's been a great time. Like I said, next week we'll be back. It's going to be a 30-minute later start time than normal, and it'll be me playing on my channel, and Twin Cam will be live on his channel. We'll be doing the community multiplayer, doing his Cayman challenge. I don't. He sent me like what the challenge is, but like I haven't had time to really look at it yet. But it's going to be fun. If you watch his streams, you already know. There's been a slight shift in the schedule as well. March 15th, we'll be back with the spotlight. 2 weeks from today, we'll have Ola Haldor on as the guest, and then in April we have Bexters, who is likely the one typing for Nitrado right now, or maybe it's Ash, her fiance. It's one of them, I'm sure. We'll have Bexters on April 12th, Omatana on April 26th for the spotlight, and then on April 19th, we also have Virtual Farmers going to join me on the community multiplayer as well. So looking forward to all of those upcoming streams. Ultra, thanks again for being here, and it was a pleasure talking to you, getting to know you, and hopefully now the community knows more about you too. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. This was a lot of fun. And yeah, this was fantastic and great. And thank you so much again for this opportunity.
Yeah, of course, you're welcome. It was a pleasure. All right, everyone, we'll catch you next time. Until then, keep being awesome. Bye.